golden key? What is the one thing that all the most successful entrepreneurs know is the key to their success? And how do you actually go about applying this key? We are right now, as you can see, down by the viaduct in Auckland, where we have just been running our event here. I'm about to take you, it's amazing boats here by the way, I'm about to take you to the home of the America's Cup team, the New Zealand team. They were in the last America's Cup, which was the 34th of the races. So it's the 34th America's Cup against America. And I'm going to share a little story about that. And actually, kind of a coincidence. This is episode 34 of Entrepreneur TV, and I'm going to talk about the 34th America's Cup. So that's a real institution. And I've been thinking a little bit about the future of this channel. Do you want me to continue with these videos or not? Because when I started this, it was in July last year. It's about to come up to July again. When I asked, I started from 4 to 6 weeks, just as the book was launching, and then I thought, should I continue with this? And I asked at that point, I got some great feedback, so I continued. But look, it's almost a year now. So do you think that I should be continuing or not? Click a like and post a comment below if you think I should, and we'll see what the response is. And if there's enough of you who think this is worthwhile, you're getting value out of it, that I should continue, well, then I'll continue. But let's see how that goes. Just go click and put a comment down below. And you can see right over here, that there over there is the Team New Zealand building that we're about to go over to. And let me tell you a bit about this story, because it was fascinating. I was in San Francisco when the America's Cup was on, and there were just amazing boats that were, like this incredible technology. And I was there at the middle of it, where New Zealand already was 8-1 up. This was like on the 8th day, New Zealand against America. They were 8-1 up, which meant they only needed one more win, and they would win the entire thing. And obviously, being 8-1 means they're already far, far, far faster than the American boat. However, from that moment onwards, because of this little key that got turned, America started winning, and America actually ended up winning 9-8, which meant after that point, New Zealand didn't win a single more race, and it was America who ended up taking the cup, which is kind of sad for New Zealand. But there was a real lesson in there as well. So what was this key that was turned? Well, what happened was Larry Ellison, who basically was sponsoring it. He's the founder of Oracle, so he's a billionaire, and he put all the money in for it. He kind of said, hey, look, seriously, there's something with our team. We're going to have to change something here. And he actually changed the tactician in the team. So that's the person who actually creates the tactics for every race. And the person they brought in was the most decorated Olympian. He'd actually been in 5 separate Olympics on sailing, where he had actually won medals in every one of the 5, and in the last 4 he won gold. And he came in, he changed the tactics. They took a day out. They also designed and made changes to the boat as well. And suddenly they went from a place where they were losing to where they ended up actually winning the entire championship. So there's a key here, and that key is all about your selection of the people around you. What percentage of your time are you spending actually going out finding great people? I remember one of the biggest things that happened to me way back when I was in my 20s, and I'd had a really challenging conversation with my venture capital company 3i that was funding me at that point. What happened is they'd gone out and found this expert. I'd gone and spent $3 million of their money, and they were like saying, well, Roger, if we're going to fund you anymore, we've got to figure out what happened to that money. I'm like, yes, good idea. Bring in your experts. They brought in someone from England who came in, looked at my business for a week, and then at the end of the week, ended up going to the board. I remember being at that meeting. I was a little nervous because I was like, okay, what's he going to say about my business? And he says, hey, this is going to be a really short meeting because there's a really simple reason why Rogers ended up losing all that money. And it's basically just, he's a terrible CEO. So this is what he said. And everyone was like, okay, fair enough, what should we do about it? And he started talking about how to put the team together. And I was like, are you kidding me? It's like, I'm a terrible CEO? I got really upset by this. So what happened was, that next couple of days I was trying to process this, and on the Sunday I'm at a barbecue with my family, with my sister, and Elaine, my sister, comes up to me and goes, Roger, what's going on? What's up? And I go, well, I'm just a bit upset about things. She goes, yeah, I can see that. Why? And I said, well, they brought this expert in from England to look at my business, and he said that I'm a terrible CEO. And she looks at me and she goes, well, you are. And I go, what? Why would you say that? And she goes, why does that upset you anyway? And I said, well, of course it upsets me. She goes, well, if I said to you that you're a terrible ballerina, would that upset you? And I go, no. She goes, well, why not? I said, I don't want to be a ballerina. So she said, well, why do you want to be a great CEO? And I go, she goes, no, seriously, think about it. If you were a great CEO, you would have big companies wanting to get you to come in your tie and your suit, to run hundreds of thousands of people, you've been in meetings all the time. Is that actually what you want? And I thought about that, and I thought, no, actually, that's not what I want. She goes, then what do you want? And I said, well, actually, what I really want is I just want to be able to have some great, successful businesses. She goes, well, then go find good CEOs that are better than you to run those businesses for you. Now, while that might sound like simple advice, it's the mindset shift that happened in that moment, which was really the key to all of this. You know, what actually happened was I then went home that night, I took all of my cards that said Roger Hamilton CEO, I basically took all of them and ripped them up, and the very next day, I ended up going to the printers and getting cards that said Roger Hamilton, Chairman. Like from that day onwards, I said, I'm not gonna run my businesses anymore. I was never a CEO from that day onwards. All the time I was out looking for other people to run the companies that I had for me. That's what Larry Ellison does as well. That's what actually all people who have actually got to a high level of success do. They don't start by saying, what do I need to do? They actually start by saying, well, what do others need to do? Who do I need to actually have here? They don't ask, how do I do things? They say, who already knows how to do these things? And they'll get connected up with those right people. And that's what makes all that difference. It's gonna make that difference within your business as well, the moment you decide that it's not about what you do, it's about what other people do. That means it's not about having a to-do list anymore. It's about having a not to-do list. And so how do you have a not to-do list? You take your to-do list and you either turn it into a to-do schedule, which means that everything's moved out over time and you're only doing the most important thing right now, which almost always is finding the right people to work with. And then the second thing is you have a who's doing what list, where you're actually saying, well, these are all the things that are important. Do the right people, do I have the right people in place? Do they have the expertise? And do they have the ability to be able to make sure that they can get the job done way better than I ever could as well? And are you getting out of the way to allow that to happen? You know, Richard Branson says this. He says, to me, business is just about 3 simple things I need to do, right? The first one is to make sure I find great people, right? The second thing is to give them the right tools to do the job. And the third thing is to get out of the way. So your key, your golden key that opens all the doors is the bit where you actually are putting time into finding great people. And if you put that time into finding great people and you take the time out, just like with the America's Cup, to actually then retool and get the right equipment, then you just get out of the way and you're gonna find that you have this ability, provided you actually do it in the right way, to open door after door after door. And then you can look at the history of what you create. Here we are now at the history. It's actually on the wall here, the history of the New Zealand team, where you can see here that every single one of the years in which New Zealand has won, and obviously it did not win in 2013, but every year where they've actually done it, they've actually put them up on this board here. And think about your board. You know, what are the wins that you're creating? Does it have to be your face and your name up there? Or could it be an entire team that's actually getting recognized for the work that they did with the game that you put together? And with that, I want to say thank you for watching from New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. Thanks to everyone who came for our event here. It was an awesome event, and looking forward to seeing everyone in Melbourne, where I'm going to be in this coming week as well. For everyone who's listening in right now, like I said, put down a comment below if you think I should continue with these videos. Click a like button if you like this. And if you don't, when you don't think I should continue it, put a comment as well. We have a Q&A coming up as well. Any questions you got, post them. I'll catch up with you on our next video.